This video will cover the properties of a good estimator and talk about the definitions of a point estimate versus an interval estimate. First off, there are three properties for a good estimator listed here in your notes. First off, a good estimator should be unbiased, and this one should be fairly obvious. The expected value of the estimator should equal or match the expected value of the parameter you're trying to estimate. That just makes good sense. The second one, a good estimator is consistent. As you gather more data, your estimate should get better. If you look at your estimate based on a sample of 10, you should give you a certain feel. You get 20 in your sample, you should have a better estimate. You get 100 in your sample, you should get a better estimate. Then the third point is that a good estimator should be relatively efficient. If you have multiple estimators that are unbiased and consistent, then the way you would choose between them is you want to have the one with the smallest variance or the smallest standard deviation, because that is what will give you the smallest interval estimate. And we'll see that definition in just a second. Now, the second thing for this video then is the idea of a point estimate versus an interval estimate. A point estimate is a simple numeric estimate of the parameter. It's a single number, and I list there the best estimate for population mean mu is the sample mean x over bar. An interval estimate, on the other hand, is when you give a range of values. The best example of this, and the one people see all the time, is if you have a weather service that they're predicting tomorrow's weather and they say, we anticipate the high temperature will be 26. That's a point estimate. If, on the other hand, they say, we think the high temperature tomorrow will be 24 to 28, that's an interval estimate. Now, there are some people out there that would argue that you should always use interval estimates. And while I won't rise to that level, I think that there are definitely advantages to an interval estimate. The biggest advantage is when you have an interval estimate, you have some idea of how sure the person giving the estimate is. If I say the temperature between tomorrow I expect to be between 24 and 28, that's one thing. If I say I expect the temperature tomorrow to be between 14 and 42, you're going to conclude I have much less of a grip on what I think is going to happen. So it gives you some insight into the surety of the person making the estimate.